Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's December 3rd. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and a nice day today. Lots of trades today. Still a lot of volume, a lot of volatility. This has a lot of a sideways feel to it, but early on there was a two-tiered channel down, but by the time the day was over, you could see there was a spike in channel down here. Uh, Looks like two-tiered to me. You can see this midline's it's playing out perfectly down through here. And if you just drew this line off these lows, if you drug it up, it fit perfectly up here. Perfect midline. You didn't really have to have this later channel, but it did help you to see that there was, I mean, it was pretty obvious that we had a downward bias here. But with the sideways stuff still going on, it kept you expecting prices to go lower because this was the first break here, and you would expect prices to try to make a new low, and they really did, and they ended up bouncing out of there. On the original two-tier channel, you can see we had a break and a new low, and then we just really went kind of sideways from that point. But this spiking channel down, if you found it, it kept you to the short side, at least into the 2 o'clock hour when it mattered. And so that was a little bit helpful there. Plus, there are a couple of trades off of that line. Um, anyway, let's back out here. We'll talk about the trades and we'll go from there. When I came in, we had been working down and we were starting to work sideways here. And just at the 7 o'clock hour, there's a nice second entry short off the EMA here. You got a little channel shorter term one working here. And this is also a little bit sideways, so it's like a little failed breakout too, but it's a second entry short right there. And then you got a lower high right here with a big bearish bar. So that was two chances to get short. Then you came back with a double test of that resistance across there. Not a, let me make this a little bigger. That's kind of hard to see. This one would have been hard to get in. Um, Actually, it wouldn't have been that hard to get in, but you may have waited on a better bar here, and there was just enough room to get out. But the reason I like this one was the double test, and it had this little gap here, and so when it broke lower, that's where you wanted to go short one tick below that, which we always go one short tick. You know, we always enter one tick below or above the signal bar. And the reason I like this one is it's a failed second entry long. It's technically not because it gets more than 4 ticks here. But notice the high first entry, second entry, and it turns back down. You would have expected prices to go higher here, but we don't have a new low in place. And so I really like this one and this one. And then this one I like just because it's a double test of that price level and right at the EMA again. And we had that gap. So you know prices are going to at least try to pull back and fill that gap. Um, so, uh, and just looking for it to come on down and make a new low for that particular little small channel. It's a channel, actually. I don't have the other side on. Let me put that on. And you can see that channel working down through there, tight channel. And then we bounced out of here. And by that time, it's obvious we're going sideways. If we'd had a nice bearish bar, you might have wanted to enter here because there's another second entry short. But I don't like that signal bar. It's too bullish. You're too late here because it could bounce off that EMA and work on higher. But notice it comes back. It tries to go higher once, twice. It's tempting to enter right there, but I think you want to wait on a second entry, which doesn't come to here, and you got a little better bearish bar, so that's the better place to enter. There's a failed second entry long right here, but it's right into the support area, so I don't think you want to go short there. But look what happens. We push through, and then we come back. We try to go lower once, then we try to go lower twice, and a nice bearish bar, and that's the better place to enter. It's a little breakout pullback, second entry short. And this one takes off. And at that point, I'd be looking for a measured move. I'd measure this leg down. Let me just go ahead and put it on here for you. I'd measure that leg down and look for a measured move. And you can see we got pretty close to that before we bounced. We missed it by a few ticks. But anyway, that would have been my target right there when we started lower. You got a first entry short here, and this actually broke higher and turned and went out the other side. This one's tempting, but there's not much room there. It's near the low of the day. The better place was to, once this moved on down, you could verify this trend line right here, and then we come back with a failed second entry short, a bearish bar, and now you got enough room to get out. You actually get a lower high here, but if you didn't enter right here, I wouldn't enter, because now you got a double bottom here, and that's a relatively neutral bar. So even though it's a lower high, I don't really like that one. We get another second entry short right here when it actually didn't trigger until it broke right here, but this is your signal bar, and it looks like we're stacking up there. And then you get a little trap here. So this one's a possibility, but look how stacked up we are there. That really looks like congestion, so I'd skip that one. And this was the better place to enter. It actually broke higher on a failed second entry short and turned and went out the other side. I like that one. And then we got a true, notice that's a double top, so that's a first entry, second entry. And so you got a lower high, and this is confirming this trend line too. Both of these touches right here. I like that one as well because it's a failed second entry long. And again, it's right off the key entry point, and you still got enough room to get out before those lows. And didn't matter, it went lower anyway and then bounced. It's tempting to want to go long right there, but it's right back into the highs. You don't have much room there. Even though it takes on off, you don't know that ahead of time. You got to respect that resistance right there. And this was tempting here too. You really probably wouldn't have had the two-tiered channel yet. You needed to make these other lows to find that low yet. And so this would have just looked like a correction on this first two-tiered channel. That's the first break of it. So you got to assume this is probably a correction, but let it play out. And it really wasn't sure we were going lower till here. There's a failed second entry long right here, but again, it's right back. You know, look how we're going sideways. It's right back towards some of this support area right here. But when it pushes through and pulls back and gives you this big bearish bar right off that trend line, and I actually just took that off those two lows and drug it over. And when it turns down right, it actually broke higher and turned and went down. You could have had a sell stop right there already waiting below this bar, or you could have just went and put your sell stop right there. I like it either way. And off it goes. You actually get another second entry short right here. Notice the low, first entry, second entry, right off the key entry point, the trend line again. And off it goes. If that'd just been a first entry, I probably would have said you should skip that one, but it's close enough back to the EMA. But the main thing is it confirms that trend line on a third touch. And then we bounce. And that's when I would have drawn this low, this line off the bottom and drug it up to the top just to see when prices come back, which is not till right here. But notice how we move up here. You get a break, lower high right here. And this actually went higher and turned and went out the other side. Again, I like going short right there. This is like a little congestion and a breakout pullback short, a lower high too off of that. And you can see when you came back later with that, drawing that line, the midline fit perfect. Come back, and then you wait on another lower high, which is right there. Bearish bar. And you actually get a failed second entry long right there. Breaks higher and turns and goes down. So I like, if you weren't in yet, I'd get in there, and I wouldn't have any problem adding on there. And you just had a break of this, so you're looking for a new low, so you got a long ways to go back down to the lows. You even got room really to almost get out before here. And off it goes. And then we bounce. You got to be a little leery of a bounce here, but there's actually a failed second entry short right here. But I was a little leery of going long yet because this is still a lower high. And you didn't have this trend line confirmed, but when it turned back down again and confirmed it, and if you had this midline in here by now, which you should have had definitely by the time you bounced here again, you got to figure we're probably headed to the highs up here. and off it goes. You can see prices reacting off that midline, and that's what you want to see. You want to see it push through and pull back and test it. You don't want to be going long into it. You want to be going long when it's acting as support. And then you also get the confirmation on this trend line, so I like that one. Of course, it turns down up here, but you don't get a very good signal bar, and you don't get a lower high till way down here. And normally I'd say you would want to wait on a retest for here, but since this bigger channel's in play, I tend to like that one. You had a couple of extra ticks to spare there, so it worked out no matter what. But it does bounce there. It's really hard to reverse right there, but I wouldn't have a problem reversing right there for this to come back and try to test that high and maybe get a break of this bigger channel. So, but that's hard to do, and that's a little bit risky too. I mean, when you're thinking short and everything is pointing short and you just got in a short, even if you scalped out, it's kind of hard to switch gears. But if you can and you recognize what's going on, notice there's a close outside and a new low, and this is a second entry long on top of that, and we're looking for a possible retest of this high. And notice what happens. It runs up there. You get a retest, a double top. You get a lower high right here. And you could consider that a failed second entry long because there's a high there, first entry, second entry. But generally, I'd like to count this as a new high. And so you really wouldn't count your second entry till here. But, sorry, my phone was ringing. I had to turn that off. But yeah, you could look at this as a failed second entry short. It is off that key entry point. I didn't mark it, but you know, going back and looking at it again, it probably should at least be green. I should have marked it green because there are reasons to like that trade. It's a little bit aggressive in my opinion. If it had been a real bearish bar off that key entry point, I'd say take it. But then we move down and you can see this channel working down. This is the first break, and it's actually broke higher and turned down. And even though this is a lower high, that's still 2 legs back to the EMA. There's a bigger bearish bar right here. I wouldn't even have a problem going short below that one. It's just so bearish, and you still got plenty of room. But if you didn't like that one, it broke higher here and did the same thing, and now you got a lower high and a second entry short for sure, counting off that low. So you could enter either one of those. Then it bounces. I don't like going long in here. We could be just heading back to here, but you don't want to go long into that EMA, and you don't get another chance here. And then we notice what happens. We make a double top. We test it once. We test it twice. And so I like going short right there. You could almost look at this as a double test, but it does go a little bit higher. Even this one goes, I mean, this one just makes a double top, but even it goes higher than those first two. But now you've tested it. You made that high. You tested it once, twice, 3 times. And so I like going short there. But you could, this one probably should be marked as well, at least green. You want proof. The only reason I mean, we do have a close outside and a new high, but generally you're better off to wait on that lower high, which comes here. And normally I'd say you'd need a more bearish bar, but you could look at that as a double test rule. So that's why I like that one. And that gets you into the 2 o'clock hour. I don't see anything. There's a lower high here. Would have worked, but it's after 2 o'clock. So really nice day. There were a lot of shorts here, and I did go through those pretty quickly, but there were a lot of trades. But this is really straightforward today for the most part. Even if you didn't find the bigger 2-tiered spiking channel, that's what I call it, spikes down and goes into this channel. This is just way too steep here. But even if you didn't find that, you should have had this 2-tiered one working down here. And that, I mean, and really before 9:30, we had a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trades right there. That's kind of unique. It's been kind of slow lately getting started. And so that was pretty interesting to have that many trades that worked out that well. And then we just kept moving lower in this bigger channel here. And there's still shorter term stuff all through here. And so draw your shorter term. I've had some people ask me lately what I mean by shorter term. And really what you have on the big pattern here is a spike and channel, and that's the darker blue channel. And then this is a shorter term one in here, this 2-tiered channel, and these are shorter term ones within that, these smaller ones. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say go to your smaller, shorter term stuff. And even inside, just as an example, even inside this shorter term stuff, there's a little trend line working right up through there. You can see that. One working down there. There's another one working up through here. You can find these things everywhere. There's one working up through there. You get a close outside, move to a new high, a lower high, and boom, off it goes. And so use that stuff because it will help you and keep you on the right, help keep you on the right side. So anyway, back out where you can see the big picture one more time. But pretty good day. Even though we're not selling off strongly, and this looks a lot like a little sideways action. It is, but what it is just the channel's really it's not a real steep. It's not really 45 degrees, which is your ideal angle. It just kind of leveled out a little bit. It started out too steep and then leveled off a little bit, but the overall bias was really down all day long for that part till after, I would say from here on. So after around 1:30, we had a little bit of an upward bias. Maybe you might even say from here you had a leg up, a correction, another leg up. I didn't measure these. Let's just see, just eyeballing it. Looks pretty close. There's leg one. You look for a measured move, and what do you know? We got almost a perfect measured move. So anyway, that's what I see for today. I heard something on the radio today coming in that they were going to close the markets on Wednesday for in honor of the death of President Bush, ex-President Bush. So I don't know if that's the CME is going to trade a regular day or not. I haven't seen anything official on it, but something to keep in mind. If it's not a trading day, I won't come in. I won't do a mid-morning chart or a afternoon chart. I'm just not sure yet. So if anybody knows anything on that, post it in the comments. I'll check into it and we'll talk about it tomorrow if there's going to be anything. We'll try to mention it again tomorrow. But as of today, I'm assuming we're still trading. But I did hear that on the radio that the markets were going to be closed. So it doesn't mean the CME will be closed, I don't guess. But we'll find out. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.